Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my very first video today, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'll give it a go. I've been sewing for quite a few years now, for about 8 or 9 years. I'm self-taught and have recently started in the last year playing with paper as well. So on my channel I'll be showing my sewing and paper creations, so it'll be a little bit mixed. So I hope that's okay. I hope to build up the courage eventually to do some tutorials, but I'm not quite ready for that yet, so just bear with me. Hopefully some of my videos will be interesting for some people, and I hope you enjoy this one. The last few days I finished work doing English laboratories at school, and so I've had a little bit more time to be creative. I live in Italy, and I have an Etsy shop called Roxy Creations, and I have had quite a few projects published in Homespun magazine, and have had the great honor this year to have my block of the month, which I designed with my sister, which is being released every month, so that's very exciting. I'll show you that in another video, but for today I'm going to show you some creations that I did over the last few days with some just paper scraps that I had lying around. And because I alter antique books or old books, I don't normally make the covers myself unless it's with linen canvas that artists use. I like to empty out the old books and reuse them and put some of the old pages back in. So of course I have a lot of old pages lying around that need to be used, and I decided to glue them together and see what I could come up with those glued pages. I have been watching some videos. Maybe in another video I will link who I like, but I tend to just find a little bit of inspiration here or there because I like to do things in my own style, obviously. So the first thing I created were these little books with the pages were glued together, and then I just decorated them. This was from a kit from Handmade, and I love to add a little bit of textile as well. I have a lot of antique laces and trims and things, and I just decorated it front and back, and then I just put in some scraps of paper as well. So I have made 6 of those here. And they're all pretty similar, just with different images on the front. Most of the images that I have used, or they're from kits, like this one is from Ephemera Vintage Garden, or otherwise I've found them on a lot on the New York Public Library, where they have a lot of public domain photos, images, and sometimes also on the Graphics Fairy and those sorts of places as well. So that's those books. I think my plan was to put these in some journals, which I would like to create in the next few days, but I'm not sure whether oops, sorry, nearly knocked over my iPad. And so I'm not sure whether I'm going to put them in the journals or put them in my shop as little ephemera kits that people can add to their own journals. So then I made some envelopes, which I've always been wanting to do, and I've sewn them up and decorated them. This one I thought I would attach to the page and leave it as a tuck spot behind, and then obviously the pocket in the front as well. So I made a couple of those. I didn't decorate them on the back because my plan was to stick them to the page. And then I made this type, and I can't remember the video that I watched for this one. Might have been a Paula Lemon, but I'd have to look that up, where you fold the page down and you create like an envelope. And these ones I decorated on both sides because I thought I might just put a paper clip them into the book. So they're fairly simple. Here's another one here, and this one, these sorts of old pretty sort of colors I just love. I don't tend to do any of the where they put the ink around the edges to antique it, because My pages are all pretty old, so I don't think that that's necessary, but if someone wanted to do that, you could certainly do that at another time. And then these are, this is like a pocket that I can attach in the corner of the page where you can slip some things in, and you'll be able to slip them in behind. And this image is Ephemera Vintage Garden, and I really, it was one of her papers in her kit, and I just loved tearing them up and gluing bits and pieces here and there, and really you can use up all your teeny tiny scraps doing this. This is another one that I did. This was Artie May's kit that I used, and I just am mad about it. I love it. I'll be using it all over the place. And here's another one. This one was made with an envelope. You can see at the back. It's actually going to be stuck down, so you won't be able to see behind, but I'm thinking of better ways to make it now, so I'll probably get onto those in the next couple of days. And then this is a big one that will float around. It's a floating sort of pocket. Excuse me, I don't really know all the terminology because I'm an expert journal maker, but I've just made that it's like I've got a pocket on the front and a pocket on the back as well, so you just paper clip it in place. The other thing I made was a whole lot of pockets that can be attached into the journals. So I stitched together a whole lot of scraps and attached images, and I really liked especially tearing my papers so that you got that sort of rough edge and it wasn't so square, and a little bit of gauze and that sort of thing as well. I made a whole lot of those, so I went a little bit crazy, I think, making those. So that's from Vintage Ephemera Garden. That is this one is some corner pockets as well. I really just went crazy making a whole lot. I don't even know what the size of my book's going to be, but if I have to cut them down, I'll cut them down. I'm going to stitch down the side again and just adapt it to the page as I go. And I love stamping on my old antique hemp that I have, and using those as well to add a little bit of texture. So, this one's one of my favorites. I love that. Flowers are one of my favorite things, so there's a whole lot of those. And then the other thing I made was a whole lot of tags, because when you're making journals, I just really wanted to make everything before I started making the journals, so then I just could slip it all in once it was all done, and I didn't have to worry about stopping and starting and making tags. So I think I saw some little tiny tags on Traci. She's called Traci Fox. I'm not sure. I'd have to check that. Not quite the same as these, but the idea of making little tags I thought was really cute, so I just made it with my old book pages, and then just stitched on a little reduced image. And then I made some really big tags, and most of them are just plain the paper on the back. I didn't throw this book insert out because I loved the way it's in German, I think, and I love the type on it, so I thought all the font, so I thought I'd keep that. So I'll be using that quite a lot to create tags and pockets and that sort of thing. And I left them, most of them, with the font on the back, so whoever receives them can just decide whether you want to attach a photograph, or you could glue some baker's paper or grid paper or lined paper or whatever type of paper you like, and then you can write on it. So that I left that up for someone to decide, or you could even attach a pocket and then slip in something that you've written on there or something like that. So this one, I really love the font on that one as well. So this is the Artie May's paper from Artie May's kit, and again, this was one where I really liked the font, and this is in Italian because I do live in Italy, so a lot of my books are in Italian. Occasionally I find them in German. For example, this one's in German. And some are really exceptionally old, like from the early 1900s or 1800s, and they were falling apart, so I didn't feel so bad giving them a new life. And then others are from like the mid-50s and 1970s as well. So this is another Artie May's. I won't show you all of them because I really did make so many. I just wanted to get through. On some of them, the the trim, the lace that I use is very old. It's antique French lace that I bought from an antique market here. This is one of my favorites, my absolute favorite colors. And here I did put some patches of old paper scraps, so that way someone can write on there if they want to. This is a antique postcard that I have that I scanned and put on there. It's very old, from 1901 or something like that. I think it was written on it. Oh, and I love that. I think, oh, that's in Italian too. I think it was about learning Greek, this one, or learning Russian or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so then when I had on my old pages a plain page, I like put that where I could on the back, so that way it was already plain, so somebody could write on it. But it has that lovely creamy ecru color that you know, that's old, and I didn't ink anything up around the edges because the pages are already old anyway, so I don't see the point in that. I kind of like just the ecru color. Again, here I've done layering with some muslin, and then I love, as I said before, stamping on my antique hemp. This is a decoupage sort of paper that I bought here in Italy that has all beautiful images of Tuscany, old sort of paintings and stuff that you can use. And here I have collaged on the back, so that way someone can write. And I have this amazing old, I think it was like a book of someone's at university. It was all about designing bridges and stuff, like, and roads and stuff, and it's handwritten with the beautiful calligraphy, you know, antique fountain pens. So here I've done a little bit of more textile collage, and on the back this beautiful French lace, and I've used bits and pieces here and there, and again from that paper. And then with my scraps I stitched these up because I thought they were super cute. Someone could write a little saying on there, put a little picture. So some are decorated on the front and some aren't. This one I stuck some paper on the back so it was easier to write, and they were just made with little scraps. And here, oh, beautiful little tag there, label. And I just really made so many of them. As you can see, there's just a huge pile of them, and I just love them. So I couldn't stop making them. I went a little bit crazy, but it was so much fun, really so much fun. So I think that's all I have for today. Hopefully I'll be back again soon. And oh, this one I made pockets, and I hope you enjoyed seeing my latest creations. Oh, actually I forgot, I made some journaling cards. How about that? That's from the Artie Mays kit there. This is from the Graphics Fairy, which is one of my favorite images. And what I did was because I printed on regular paper, actually high quality multi-purpose paper, and so what I did was then I glued on an old book page. So I haven't inked that up, that's real aging, and I just, where the page was blank in the book, I glued that onto the back, or otherwise I collaged onto the back with some new and old paper so someone could have fun writing on there. So I made a few of those. This was from the New York Public Library. It's a public domain image. This is from the New York Public Library. This one too, and that's Artie Mays paper on the back. And this one, I can't remember if it was from the New York Public Library, or yes, I think it was, not the Biodiversity Library. And this is Artie Mays here, and I've collaged on the back so someone can write or stick a picture as well. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these creations that I've done over these last few days, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to put them in kits and sell them as kits, or for someone else to put into their journals, or whether I'm going to include them in journals that I make and then sell on Etsy. So I'll have to think about that. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope I'll be back soon. I hope I don't freak out, and this might be my one and only video. Thank you, and have a great evening.